Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtakshaisha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Narad's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva, text number 23 onwards. So far Narada Muni told Vedvyasji that you should describe the glories, the pastimes of Krishna. And now from this text onwards, he will tell him how he became a devotee. In his previous life, he will explain what happened in the previous life. Aham purati bhavya bhavam mune dasyastu kasyashchana vedvadinam nirupito balake vayoginam shushrushme pravrishi nirvivikshatam. O Muni, in my past life, in the last millennium, I was born as a son of a certain maidservant engaged in the service of Brahmins who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service. Now just imagine, Narad Muni is telling about his last life, and not just in this time period, he is saying in the last millennium. Means in the last Manvantar, his life was like that. And after the Manu's time is over, one Manvantar is over, then pretty much this, the creation is destroyed up till the heavenly planets, and then creation happens again. So for quite some time, the soul stay in the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu within this universe. So Narad Muni even remembered from that millennium what happened. And then in the beginning of this millennium is the beginning of when Vivaswata Manu took over, then Narad Muni was born as, then that soul took birth as Narad Muni. And then, since then, he has been traveling and preaching to everybody. Just imagine, he remembered even that time. We don't even remember what we did in the last week. And Narad Muni remembered his last birth, which was in the last millennium. The wonder of an atmosphere surcharged with devotion service to the Lord is briefly described herein by Sri Narad Muni. He was a son of the most insignificant parentage. He was not properly educated. Still, because his complete energy was engaged in the service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage. So, this is the power of devotional service. So, Narad Muni, in the previous life, he was the son of a maidservant and not properly educated either. But because he was fully in the service of the Lord, he became an immortal sage. Such is the powerful action of devotional service. Living entities are the marginal energy of the Lord, and therefore they are meant for being properly utilized in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. When this is not done, one situation is called Maya. Therefore, the illusion of Maya is at once dissipated as soon as one's full energy is converted in the service of the Lord instead of in sense enjoyment. From the personal example in Narad Muni in the previous birth, it's clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. The Lord says that the service of his servants is greater than his personal service. Service is more valuable than the service of the Lord. Why? Because the devotee is always in the service of the Lord, firstly, and secondly, he is more dear to the Lord. Like Like many places, Srila Prabhupada has given this example. In the Western countries, many people keep dogs in their houses. So if somebody goes to the house and he meets the owner of the house, owner likes it. But if that person goes and he pets the dog nicely, the owner really loves that person. Why? Because owner loves the dog and somebody pets the dog, owner really loves it. So similarly, the case with the devotees. So if somebody does some service to a devotee, Krishna takes it very personally, very seriously, because he loves his devotees. And at the same time, if somebody commits an offense or does something against devotee, Krishna takes it more seriously than even if somebody has done something against him. This is this is the love of Krishna for his devotees. So if we read the stories of different incarnations, so every time what Krishna does, he he lets a demon deal with his devotee. If the demon, because the demons, chances are they will mishandle the devotee, then Krishna will come and kill the demon. Just like in the case of Narsimdev. So Narsimdev, he led Prahlad Maharaj as the son of Hiranyakashipu. But Prahlad Maharaj was mishandled by Hiranyakashipu, although Hiranyakashipu had a great opportunity to serve Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj being a Mahabhagavat. But Hiranyakashipu decided to try to kill Prahlad Maharaj, and that is when Narsimdev got angry and came and killed Hiranyakashipu. In the incarnation of Lord Ram, if Ravan had taken Sita, and even if he had taken Sita, if he had surrendered to Sita, if he had served Sita nicely, Ram would have never killed him. Ram would have really respected him for taking care of Sita so nicely. But he didn't. So Ram had to come and kill him. In the incarnation of Krishna, Kansa had full opportunity to serve Devaki and Vasudeva. Full opportunity. But he didn't. He killed Krishna. He killed the six brothers of Krishna. He put Devaki and Vasudeva in the prison house. Krishna had to come and kill him. So basically, it always happens like that. That Krishna or his incarnations, they get very upset when a demon or a person, they mishandle the devotee. At the same time, there's a story of Aghasur in Krishna Lila. Aghasur was a demon who came in the form of a big snake, giant serpent. It's so giant when he opened his mouth, it is said his upper lip was touching the clouds. So all the cowherd boys, and he was sitting in the path with his tongue sticking out. The cowherd boys thought that this path is like a big road and his body is like a cave. They said we'll enjoy playing in that cave. So all the cowherd boys, they went inside the body of Aghasur. Aghasur hadn't closed his mouth because he was waiting for Krishna to come in. So then he would close his mouth and kill Krishna and all the boys. So Krishna entered, and obviously Aghasur closed his mouth, but Krishna is Krishna. He expanded his size so much that he burst the head of Aghasur and came out. And then he rescued all the cowherd boys. It is said that this Aghasur demon, when he died, otherwise all the demons that get killed by Krishna, they get Sayujya Mukti. They merge in the body of Krishna. But this demon and another demon, Putna, for different reasons, they did not merge in the body of Krishna. They went back to Vaikuntha planet. So somebody was surprised. How come? They were very ferocious demons. Well, what had happened, that cowherd boys, while going inside the mouth of Aghasur, they enjoyed in his mouth. They thought it's a cave, and the tongue was a big highway, and they played in his mouth. So they had some enjoyment. They really liked it. Of course, they were later on. Some acharyas say they were killed in the body of Aghasur by the poison, or some say they got unconscious. But whatever the case may be, but Krishna got so much grateful to Aghasur that my friends they enjoyed in your body, although you came with the intention of killing them and killing me. So Krishna gave him this mukti, Salokya mukti, where Aghasur went back to Vaikuntha planet. So this is how grateful Krishna becomes when somebody does a very, even little service to his devotee. And this is what the Lord says. Lord says that the service of his servants is greater than his personal service. And one shloka, Krishna says that one who says that somebody is my devotee, he is actually not my devotee. Who says I'm a devotee of your devotee, Krishna, then he is actually my devotee. So there's a different science we have to understand. One should therefore choose a bona fide servant of the Lord, constantly engaged in his service, accept such a servant as a spiritual master, and engage himself in the spiritual master's service. Such a spiritual master is a transparent medium by which to visualize the Lord, who is beyond the conception of the material senses. By service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion to the service rendered. See, by service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself to that particular devotee in proportion to the service rendered by the devotee to the spiritual master. Very important line. But in proportion to the real service rendered. Many times, I mean, now it's a personal realization. Many times we try to do what we call, like we do in many places, we try to do buttering, or we try to do like in the front we do many nice things, but in the back we don't follow the instructions. So don't we think Krishna can see everything? Paramatma is sitting in our heart. He can see everything. He can see not the action, but also the intention behind that action. So one has to be very, not just careful, one has to be very clear. Intentions has to be really service motivated when one is going or when is trying to serve a devotee or trying to serve a bona fide spiritual master. Because Krishna, as Paramatma, can see everything, what we are doing, what our intentions are, what our thoughts are, what our desires are. Utilization of the human energy in the service of the Lord is a progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The expert spiritual master knows the art of utilizing everything to glorify the Lord. And therefore, under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode by the divine grace of the Lord's servant. So the expert spiritual master, he knows the art of utilizing everything to glorify the Lord. Because this is what he does, spiritual master or a bona fide devotee. That he wants to glorify the Lord, he wants to use everything in the service of the Lord. And then Prabhupada is writing, the whole world can be turned into spiritual abode. Whole world can become Vaikuntha by the divine grace of the Lord's servant. If we get a chance to serve such a devotee, we should not miss that chance. So text 24. Te maya peta khil chapale arbake dante adrit kridane anuvartini Chakru kripam yadyapi tulya darshanah shushrushmane manyo alpa bhashini. Although impartial by nature, although they the sages who came to stay in the house of Narada Muni's mother for 4 months of rainy season. and Narada Muni was serving them and along with his mother. Although impartial by nature, those followers of the Vedanta blessed me with their causeless mercy. As far as I was concerned, I was self-controlled, had no attachment for sports, even though I was a boy. In addition, I was not naughty and I did not speak more than required. So many qualities are necessary to make advancement in spiritual life. Narad Muni says, I was self-controlled, so we have to have some control over our senses, and had no attachment for sports. So sports here means sports, but sports also mean, like for a boy, sports means sense gratification. Lots of senses are engaged and gratified. So if somebody has no attachment for sense gratification, in addition, I was not naughty. So he was not naughty, even though he was a little boy, and did not speak more than required. So four qualifications, Narada said, I had, and that's why those sages, they imparted the knowledge unto me and they blessed me with their mercy. So Prabhupada, of course, he wrote a nice purport, long purport, where I'll go in the middle. Uh, Prabhupada is talking about those Bhakti Vedanta or the sadhus who came to stay at the house of Narada Muni. To them, no one is enemy or friend. No one is educated or uneducated. No one is especially favorable and no one is unfavorable. The Bhakti Vedantas see that the people in general are wasting time in false, sensuous things. The business is to get the ignorant mass of people to re-establish their lost relationship with the personality of Godhead. So this is the business, or this is the service of all the sadhus. So sadhus means, as I said earlier, sadhu means one who cuts. One who cuts our attachment, one cuts our bonds with the material world. So they see the people in general are wasting time, whether one is educated or non-educated, they see everybody is basically wasting their time. So this sense of compassion they have on people in general, actually this is what makes them very dear to Krishna, and their intention of bringing people in the service of Krishna. This is what makes them very dear to Krishna. Their business is to get the ignorant people to re-establish their lost relationship with the personality of God. By such endeavor, even the most forgotten soul is roused up to the sense of spiritual life. And thus, being initiated by the Bhakti Vedantas, the people in general gradually progress on the path of transcendental realization. So, gradually we make progress by the endeavor or by mercy of Bhakti Vedantas. So the Vedantavadis or the sadhus, they initiated the boy even before he became self-controlled and was detached from childish sporting, etc. But before the initiation, he became more and more advanced in discipline, which is very essential for one who wishes to make progress in the line. So this discipline, this follows of rules is very important if we want to make progress. The irresponsible life of sense enjoyment was unknown to the children of the followers of Varnashram system. A boy was even injected with spiritual acumen before being placed by the father in the womb of the mother. Both the father and mother were responsible for the boy's success in being liberated from the material bondage. That is a process of successful family planning. So these are the qualities or Varnashram system that Prabhupada is mentioning here. It was there so that from the very beginning of life, probably small boys after 5 years of age, they were trained to take up the spiritual life seriously. And here Prabhupada writing, both the father and mother were responsible for the boy's success in being liberated from the material bondage. In fact, this shloka will come later on in Bhagavatam. this was said by Narada Muni himself, that no one has a right to become a father or a mother or a husband or a guru or a demigod if he cannot liberate the dependents, if he cannot liberate the people who are dependent upon him. So, on a husband, wife is dependent, on father and mother, children are dependent, on a guru, his students are dependent. If he cannot liberate, or if he cannot take them on the path of liberation, or if he cannot at least guide them, not even take them, guide them on the path of liberation, on the path of bhakti, then Bhagavatam says one does not have a right to beget children or to accept disciples or to accept a wife. That's how serious Bhagavatam is. So once we become parents, we have a particular duty towards a child, towards the children who have come in our household, that we should try, at least if they take it up or not, that's up to them. But we should try to take them on the path of bhakti seriously. But for that, father and mother themselves, they have to take up the process, because children, instead of listening to the parents, they follow their example more seriously than listening to the lectures. So they see, if they can see the discrepancy in what parents are doing and what they are saying, they'll tend to follow what they are doing. And children are very smart, and they notice everything what parents are doing. Even if we are not serious about what we're doing, but they notice everything, especially when they're little. So parents have to be really careful in their dealings, in what they're saying and what they're teaching to the children. So that way I am very fortunate. I don't have any children. So I can play with other children, but that's about it. They don't take me seriously. Or maybe I wasn't responsible enough. That's why Krishna didn't give me any children. So he said, this guy is just so irresponsible, he will spoil his children, so better not give him any kids. So maybe that's why Krishna did that.
But we are all your children, we are following you.
I knew you would say that. See, I'm not a spiritual master. There's a difference. I'm just trying to teach you Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. That's about it. I'm like a monitor of the class. That's it. I'm not a teacher. So I'm trying to do my best to engage everybody in the service of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and ultimately in the service of Srila Prabhupada. And that's about it. I know and you know how fallen I am, and I cannot take any responsible position. Should we take up the next verse or should we stop here? It's already 8:56.
I think you can take questions now. We have just 2-3 minutes.
Okay, any questions, comments?
Prabhuji, when you said that you can't take responsibility, you're talking from your present position. You might be talking about your present position, but being a devotee who wants to gradually progress on the path of spirituality, you should be prepared to take that responsibility in the future if it is given to you.
But I'm not a very responsible person.
Sorry, Prabhu, your voice was not coming clearly.
I'm saying Krishna knows I'm not a responsible person, so he will not.
Yeah, that is right now, no? But we are all trying to become better spiritually. So naturally, we should be ready for that responsibility also in the future. Because,
Well, we'll
because,
see what happens in the future. I know.
sorry, Prabhu, there is some breakage in the voice.
I know. I know. I'm saying we'll see what happens in the future. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think you are working very wonderfully with the devotees of the Lord, trying to guide them and direct them in their spiritual endeavor according to their pace and not according to your pace. So you always mention that we should preach to the level of the devotees we are preaching, not to our level. So when you're doing everything so maturely, I'm seeing that you are a future candidate by Krishna to lead people to take that responsibility. There's going to be a lot of children for you in your lifetime. They are all
Radha Prabhu, what are we talking about here? Let's go to the process, what Prabhupada discussed.
okay.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and I'm not at all qualified. I know that.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your nice, beautiful class every day.
Any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna.
Poonam Mataji, long time no see. Where have you?
Your voice is muted, Mataji.
You have to turn on your speaker.
If you touch the screen on the left side, there will be a mic signal. So you press it
I'll,
again. Yeah, Prabhuji, you
okay, I
can.
did that for her.
Can I
Ye- ye- yes, Mataji, we can hear you now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji? I didn't know.
Very good.
It was gone out somewhere. Prabhuji घर पे नहीं थी. वहाँ time नहीं मिला.
Okay, okay,
That is why.
okay. Chalo. Welcome
Prabhuji,
back.
I have a question.
Yes, Mata.
हाँ जी. Prabhuji, आपने कहा you to serve the devotees. And how can we
Yeah.
judge the devotees? How can we know that the person we are serving or it is actually a devotee?
Then first we have to see what his activities are like, what he is saying, and if he comes in. Well, parampara is one of the aspects, but if he is serving Krishna and if he is engaging everybody, he's a
Could not hear you, Prabhuji.
I'm sorry. I'm saying if somebody is serving Krishna and engaging everybody in the service of Krishna, and if he comes in parampara, then he is recognized as a devotee. He's not building up his own way of service, he's following his guru, following the scriptures. So there are many sentimental people also in the world.
Yes.
They could be devotees, they might not be devotees, hard to judge.
Yes.
So, again, they could be devotees on a beginning level, beginning stages, may not be very high stage. Or maybe it's hard to see, it's hard to judge a person just by seeing him.
Yes.
So, I mean, on the safe side, better serve. Even if we think you're devotee, better serve. And slowly, Krishna will guide us properly.
Prabhuji,
Because in India, we have many devotees.
Yes.
who might not come in any parampara.
Yes. That brings us to, like, everybody carries God in his heart, whatever stage he is on, maybe little or big, but everybody believes in God. Everybody believes in Krishna. So everybody is devotee, maybe small, at a lower level or at a bigger level. So that means we have to not just devotees,
Yeah,
we have to serve everybody and
in
anybody.
that respect, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. In that respect, yes. Originally, every soul is servant of Krishna.
Yes.
So everybody is a devotee from that aspect.
Yes.
But right now, if he is acting like a devotee or not, that we have to see.
Yes.
So service of people in general is good. There's nothing wrong. But service of a person who's fully engaged in the service of Krishna, that is better.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata. Yes, Radha Prabhu, you have a question? Your mic is up. Okay, no, before the Preeti Mataji, your hand is up. Your voice is breaking, Preeti Mataji.
Is it better or
Again, your voice is breaking.
still? I ask you on the chat. Is it a issue?
Haribo?
Is it Haribol Prabhuji? Is it better?
Oh, much better. Yes, Mata.
Okay. Haji Prabhuji. So I was saying that, like you said, that as parents, it is our responsibility to get our children into Krishna consciousness. But what happens a lot of time, children get influenced by people outside. So I'll give you three examples. For example, when my son goes in the van, he listens to those songs, which are, even if you think about the wordings, they're ridiculous. And then his teacher, who gets really influenced with, his teacher tells him, you should eat eggs. It is very healthy for your body. And then he comes and tells me all these things. So sometimes, because most of his time is spent outside with lots of people, it becomes difficult to, bring them or make them stay in Krishna consciousness. So what else can we do?
Um, yeah, well, yes, those forces will always be there, especially on children. But at home, if we provide nice atmosphere and we give them prashadam, you keep on feeding them prashadam. One thing, I mean, although this is my personal experience, I don't know everybody. Force does not work on children. You
Yes.
cannot force them for anything these days. At our time, it was different. Parents would just give one slap and we'll do whatever they want us to do. But now it doesn't work. So we can entice them, blackmail them, do dam, danda, not danda, samdam, bheda. That can work on children. And of course, one thing, as I said, that they notice really closely is what we do, what the parents do. They really notice it. So in that manner, we have to be very careful. Of course, the situation at home might not be very conducive. Maybe wife is trying to be a devotee and husband is not, or otherwise also. So that way it becomes tricky. It's very tricky. Yes. And the pullings of Maya in this Kali Yuga is also very strong outside. But at the same time, we have to do whatever the best we can, without forcing, without imposing on the children. Because more one imposes on children, I have seen As soon as they become teenager, they leave everything. They leave Krishna consciousness. They say, I have nothing to do with this chanting and whatever you force me to do, and they go away. So instead of forcing, we give them lots of love and try to entice them somehow, somewhere. That can work. Like one case, a husband was trying to become a devotee and wife was not at all helping, receptive at all. And they had a son. So father was forcing the son to take up chanting, take up the processes, take up everything. And ultimately it ended up in so much of fighting at home and ended up in divorce. And the wife got the custody of the son. So the husband, after many, many years, we would say, yes, it was my fault because I'm so fanatic. And this is what happens. We sometimes we become so fanatic, like for him, I was saying that you wanted your son to be like Prahlad Maharaj, but you forgot who was the father of Prahlad Maharaj.
Huh. Right.
So he said, yeah, I acted like Hiranyakashipu at that time. So one does not become fanatic because it creates bad atmosphere at home. The atmosphere of home should be very peaceful, should be very divine, not like fighting, bickering, and this and that going on. And still at the same time, one has to try his best or her best.
Yeah.
So yes, it is extra challenge on the ladies or the Prabhujis who are trying to make the house Krishna conscious and the other partner is not. It's a big challenge. But this is what Krishna will see, how much we are still trying to serve him going through these challenges. And he will definitely give us mercy. But best thing is keep the atmosphere at home very congenial and very divine, very serene, and no fighting. Ultimately, it's not by our fighting anything will change. It's by our prayers things will change. So we pray to Krishna. If things are out of our control, we pray. We just pray. And Krishna will help.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ashok Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Now, isn't a pralab the means of people joining this movement, and because they are destined to join this movement, and they come at some stage, maybe for children also, then they have done good karmas in the past life, and so they get enticed and automatically.
But that still doesn't relieve of ourselves of our duties.
No, we're not. I'm not talking about the duties, and it normally it has been seen that the people who take up this Krishna consciousness and or any devotional service and are destined to take it up and they do it, and sometimes and some people early and some people later on. But it is a pralabdhan which they are enjoying and of their past karmas.
See, bhakti does not come under prarabdha karma. What we do is some agyat sukriti. Sukriti means some positive or helpful or pious activity we have done towards a devotee or the deity or the Lord. And then because when the bank balance of agyat sukriti becomes so much, that Krishna then makes the arrangement for us to meet a devotee, to come in association of a devotee.
Okay.
By coming in the association, now it's still up to, it's our free will whether we take up the process seriously or not. That's up to us. Because so many people came in contact with Srila Prabhupada also, but then not that everybody took up devotion service.
Okay.
So people come in contact because of a Gyat Sukriti, and then it is up to them whether to take up.
So that minute intelligence plays a part here.
Free will is still there.
Free will is still.
So devotees try to create the Sukriti of people in general.
Okay.
So their Sukriti becomes so much, bank balance becomes so much that sooner or later they take up devotion service. Idea is that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I guess we can stop here. It's already 9:12. Wow. So we'll stop here. Have a wonderful day. Thinking about Narada Muni, how he became a devotee. Jai Srila Prabhupada.